Hey guys.
Okay. William, can you hear us?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we are gonna just ask an opening question, and then we'll go straight to questions. William, you won the duel here in Daytona in 2020 and won your first Cup race here last summer. What do you learn from those experiences as you head into this week?
I think just some of the trends in the racetrack and the way that the drafting develops over the course of the race, the intensity, how it ramps up later in the race. So, I feel like that's the biggest things. I think honestly, it's just experience, and as soon as you get out there on the racetrack and really start racing, some of those things come back to your mind, and you start to kind of remember what it took in the previous couple races to make those moves or pull off the moves you need to make in the draft. So, I think that's really it. Nothing really in terms of the setup or things like that. It's really just kind of understanding the moves you need to make at the right times.
All right, well, we will now go to questions. We'll take as many questions as we can in the time that we have with you. And to start us off, we are going to go with Claire B. Lang. Go ahead, Claire.
Thank you. I want to ask you about qualifying, and the Hendrick cars are usually pretty good at Daytona. I know that Chase Elliott has been really good at Daytona in the qualifying lineup, and Kyle Larson can't wait to get into a car that he thinks might be giving him the ability to be strong. How do you look at qualifying in a Hendrick car at Daytona and what you expect from yourself?
Well, I think we just know that the preparation the guys do at the shop is just phenomenal. The cars look great every year. It's always exciting to sit in the car for the first time over the off season and see how much work's been put in and just how nice they are, how nice the bodies are, how nice the engines are, all that stuff. So I feel like more of the same this year, which, with that comes a little pressure to qualify well, knowing that we do have the speed typically to do it. So that is our goal, is to go out there and try to qualify on the pole. And hopefully that happens. If not, you try to race hard in the duel. I think last year we qualified third and was able, or fourth, and won the duel, which was awesome. So I think it's just all about trying to go out there first and foremost, qualify well. Secondly, try to win the duel.
And is qualifying really as easy at Daytona as drivers make it seem, right? They make it seem like, it's just qualifying, nothing, right?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely a lot about the car. I'd say it's 90% car, 10% driver in terms of, the driver just has to get through the gears well. I mean, there is some speed in that. So, not messing that up and making sure you have good shifts, and there's, not being lazy with that stuff is really important. And then just, holding a nice wheel. And, but yeah, it's really about the team. I think they can make much more of a difference than the driver can at Daytona in qualifying.
Have fun at Daytona. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take our next question from Matt Weaver. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, William. How's it going, man?
Good.
So we got two for you. The first one is that as long as I've followed your stock car career, for a large portion of it, you had Max Pappas working with you. I know that your dad had kind of set that up a little bit, but how did that whole thing come together, and what has Max meant for you, and not only your racecraft, but also just your maturation as a person, because he's so philosophical?
Yeah, I mean, Max and I, it's funny, we started working together probably 2015. I met him at MPI, where he builds all the wheels, and I kind of just, I really like talking to him, and so I think I wrote him an email back, and we just exchanged phone numbers and started talking. And really, I think probably in end of 2015, we started to really have more conversations and really start for him to take on more of a mentorship role for me, especially as I moved into NASCAR from the the K&N days into the Truck Series, which is a big jump. So honestly, for me, he was a great asset to kind of understand the ropes, and he got me in touch with a lot of people like Kevin Harvick and Dave Wilson at Toyota, people like that I just would have never met otherwise. Max really kind of allowed me to meet those people, whether it was at a Cup race or Xfinity race. And really that kind of catapulted my career into, getting in with Kyle Busch Motorsports and just kind of progressing throughout the years. So we still work well together, and definitely not as hands-on now that I've kind of grown up a little bit, but I still, it's great to have a mentor in racing, because you never know everything by yourself. And it's really important to have somebody that you can bounce ideas off of and kind of get a perspective from the outside. So, with the road courses this year, I think it's going to be really important that, he and I bounce ideas off each other and try to figure out the best approach for those racetracks.
My other question is, you attest to the next gen at Auto Club, and the car has gone through a bit of an evolution since then. They've been fine-tuning it, the R&D process. But what are your reflections now, a couple of months, a year removed from it, and what have you heard about where it's at now compared to where it was when you drove it?
A lot's changed. I don't read too much into the tests that they do, because I know that, let's face it, once the teams get a hold of the car, it's going to change so much. The setups are going to change, the engineering, it's going to be similar, but it's going to be a lot more enhanced, once the teams get a hold of it. But for me, we didn't have the best test, in terms of the experience on my end, but I think they learned a lot. I had just raced at California a couple days before, so I had a very clear idea of kind of what the previous car or current car does. I don't know if that was the best approach to testing, because, I was expecting a certain grip level and it was never really there. But plus we had a ton of wind. I think it was like 30 miles an hour wind, which was crazy. I never really experienced that in a race car. So I think there were a lot of factors, but I've heard that it's great on road courses so far. The ovals are still a struggle from what I've heard, but I think they're going to continue, it's going to continue to improve once we get a hold of the car and really kind of fine tune it.
10-4. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take our next question from Mark Garrow with PRN. Go ahead, Mark.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, William, for joining us this morning. Every part of your Cup career so far, it's still very young, obviously, but each year there's been a step up. Given what you were able to accomplish last year, what are your expectations? What are your goals this year?
I think expectations are, should say goals. I think goals for us are just to go out there and be a consistent threat. I think there's really 6 to 8 guys that have a shot to win each race. When I really look at the guys on the leaderboard that, are consistently up there. So I think, for us, it's trying to be part of that consistent threat each week. I think that's our ultimate goal. I think having Rudy on board is going to make that process go really smooth. We've worked together before. Obviously, we had great success, but I think really we've learned a lot while we've been away from each other the last few years and been in separate places. So, I really look forward to working with him. I feel like he's gotten off to a great start. He's been great with the other crew chiefs, and really have no reason to expect anything different from us than kind of how we were in the past and what we were able to accomplish.
Do you feel more comfortable now as a Cup quote unquote veteran, if you will, or do you feel you've reached that point? And just what exactly is your confidence level as far as being able to, go out there week after week and be able to run up front?
Yeah, I'm definitely not the same kind of nerves about, I'm still nervous about going to Daytona like I think you should be every year. But I think honestly this year, I'm not nervous about the same things. I'm more nervous about, how's the car going to drive? How are things going to go in that aspect? Less about, the event and the pomp and circumstance of the weekend. So for me, it's all about just executing how we should and need to. And, if we can do all the right things, I think we have the cars and are very capable to go out there and win. So it's just about doing those things and less about, kind of learning the Cup Series anymore.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're going to take our next question from Jordan Bianchi. Go ahead, Jordan.
Hi, William. If I'm not if I have it correct, you don't have a lot of experience or any experience on dirt. So I was wondering, in preparation for the Bristol dirt race, if you're going to be doing any extracurricular racing to kind of get acclimated to dirt.
Yes and no. I think, I'll do some stuff. I'm kind of waiting to see how the first little bit of the season goes and kind of what position we're in going into that race. But I think honestly, it's an important race, but it's one race. It's not 7 like the road courses and 28 or whatever it is on the ovals. So it's an important race, but you got to treat it as one race and really kind of understand that it's its own animal. And there's a lot of things that once you get out there are going to be different. I've driven a dirt car before, and there's a lot of difference in a proper dirt car versus a cup car on dirt with a interesting tire. So I don't really know how much preparation beforehand is going to really apply, other than the fact that the guys that race dirt all the time are going to be phenomenal. So it's going to be hard to compete with those guys as is. So we'll see how it goes, but I think as we get closer, there'll be a lot more preparation.
Okay, we're going to take our next question from Jeff with Empire Sports. Go ahead, Jeff.
Thank you, Amanda. Good morning, William. Thank you for joining us today. Everyone knows you earned your first career Cup Series victory at Daytona last year. How great does it feel, and how liberating is it to have the burden of searching for your first Cup Series victory removed going into the 2021 season?
It's great, for the fact that, there's not as much attention on that, headline and things like that. There's not as much outside noise. I think for us, the goal is still the same, is to win. So the goal has always been to win, but I think now we can do it with some confidence. So a little bit more confidence, less noise. So that's always good. And I think, for us, we can just focus on doing our jobs.
And as a fourth-year driver at Hendrick Motorsports, driving for one of the most illustrious numbers in NASCAR history, what's the biggest lesson you're going to take away from a most unusual season last year where you managed to make a name for yourself? What's the biggest lesson you will take from 2020?
I think honestly there were some good parts. The good, I think, was being able to, really put focus on the task at hand and kind of the driving on the weekends. It was really obviously a condensed schedule. So things were happening at a lot faster rate. There wasn't as much time to think between races. So all that stuff was different. I think the unfortunate part was you didn't have the fans, and you didn't have the excitement built around the races. So sometimes, I remember thinking to myself after some of the bad races that, it really felt like we were out there doing a job, because we were just out there, driving around and racing for our own team and reasons, but you didn't have the excitement of the fans to really push it to another level, which is really why we do what we do. So I think in some ways it was good to have some more focus on the race, but at the same time, there wasn't much excitement around it.
Terrific. Thank you, William. Good luck this season.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take our next question from Marty. Go ahead, Marty.
Thanks, Amanda. Let me just turn on my camera real quick. Hey, William. Hope you're doing well, man.
Yep.
You kind of just answered it a few questions ago. You're getting crew chief Rudy Fugle back as your wingman. What's it been like reuniting with him, and do you see it as a multi-win season for 2021 now with him on top of the box?
Yeah, it's been awesome reuniting with him. We get along extremely well, and I feel like he has a really high racing IQ, which is really important in the role he's in. So, it's honestly been a pretty seamless transition since November. So I feel like, now getting closer to the season, our expectations are obviously high, but we have to limit those to the fact that, first and foremost, just have to execute as simple as the first lap on the racetrack, and the radio is working and all those little things. So good thing we have the class to do that, but I think it's going to be simple first and foremost, and hopefully as soon as we get into our rhythm, we can start to click off some really good runs. And
of the exciting schedule changes we have for 2021, what are you looking forward to the most?
Look forward to some of the new tracks. I think Coda is going to be really a fun track. I always look forward to the 600 and my home track. So I feel like Charlotte, hopefully by the time we get to May is a really good place to be for us. And we can go out there and race aggressive.
Thanks for your time, man. Have a great Speed Weeks, William.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take our next question from Kyle McFadden. Go ahead, Kyle.
Hey, William, just with Chase and his off-season stuff and with Kyle continuing to do some dirt races over the course of this season, how have you seen Mr. H change just with allowing his drivers to just kind of branch out and just race outside of NASCAR? He said he's not necessarily encouraging it, but it seems like he's tolerating it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been like much more open book from everyone, really, for us to go out there and race, what we want to race. So I've really been excited about that. I think a lot of it has to do with Jeff's involvement too, and kind of how he's evolved, our approaches. So yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, I've got a chance to do some really cool things this offseason, going to the Chili Bowl with Jeff and enjoying that. So honestly, just excited to hopefully get to do some more races. I know that's kind of Rudy's background too, is racing a lot. He's helped Kyle a lot on the super late model side. And if there's any chance for us to race supers this year or race in the trucks or Xfinity, I mean, I think we're going to take it. So, just depends on the timing, but I do think it's a good thing to go and race some things. And, for me, it's all about having a chance to win though. I'm not going to go race something just to run, 10th. So I think trying to have a shot to win, knowing that you're going to be competitive, is important.
Okay, we're going to take our next question from Anton with ASN Media, and then Tucker, you can go after Anton. Go ahead.
Thanks, Amanda. Good morning, William. So Hendrick Motorsports has won at least one Speedweeks event for 8 consecutive years, and you've been a part of this success in the recent years. What is the reason? What is the key factor to reaching that result, in your opinion?
Yeah, I didn't know that, but I think that's just goes down to the preparation that the guys put in at the shop. It really is really about the cars that we have to go out and race, and I think honestly for us, they're the best prepared cars in the garage. So I think it makes our life more simple down there. To have a shot at winning something, and you want to be the guy that can go out there and win that race or whatever event it is.
Thanks. Wishing you all the best for this season.
Thank you.
All right, Tucker, go ahead.
William, as we've seen over the last few years, and especially last season, the driver who performs the best over the course of the season doesn't necessarily make the championship round of the playoffs or even win the title. And given how luck heavy it has become to make the championship round or even win the title now, how are the playoffs a good method of deciding the champion, especially when leagues like IndyCar and Formula One decide theirs via a season-long points format?
Well, I think I would argue that I don't necessarily agree with the fact that the best guy hasn't won the championship. I think Chase had the best second half of the year last year statistically, and was dominant at the right times of the year. So I think it's more about performing when the most is on the line. It brings out something different in everybody, and it's really critical to do that. So I like the way the format is. I was on the wrong side of it in trucks, with getting a blown engine the week before the final race, and then going out and winning the final race, which technically would have won the championship, but it is what it is. Like you learn from those moments. And I was fortunate the next year to be in the Final Four and have the Xfinity championship. So it's just kind of, it goes in different ways, but I feel like the playoffs, the way it is now, brings out the best, in the drivers and the teams. And yeah, there is, the part of racing that's mechanical and things you can't control, but I feel like that's probably in every sport, has some form of that.
All right. Thank you.
All right. And we're going to take another question. Let's see here from Mike Solarte. Go ahead, Mike.
Thanks, Amanda. Hey, William, good to see you again.
See ya.
Let's Chase winning the championship. A rising tide lifts all ships. Does that 9 championship kind of lift everybody around Hendrick Motorsports to elevate their games and say, okay, good for you, Chase, but now we want one?
I think for sure. I mean, I think anytime you have, the competition from within like we do this year, I think it's good. It's better than the alternative of kind of not having the answers and fighting from guys from another manufacturer. So I look for us to have a great year and really just to kind of build on what Chase did at the end of the year. I think, he's a couple years further along than I am. So I've got a few years to kind of get to where that 9 team is, but hopefully we're on the right track this year.
Okay, we will take our next question from Chase Holden. Go ahead, Chase.
What's up, William? Wanted to talk a little bit about your new paint scheme that you're running with Axalta. You get your own Rainbow Warrior. I'm pretty sure you're pretty pumped about that. I've seen a lot of stuff on social media about it. Going into this season, though, now that you've got this win, do you think that paint scheme for the fans out there is obviously going to be a great thing, but does it add more pressure to you now that you kind of have something that's relatable to Jeff Gordon, other than just the number itself? Or is this kind of you looking at it as you're ready to usher in your own era with your own paint scheme, your own Rainbow Warrior itself, and you look to just kind of try to reinvent that whole entire deal moving into this year?
Honestly, I think it's kind of its own paint scheme and its own theme. For me, the flames were more similar to Jeff's scheme than anything. It was kind of the flames were brought back technically from when Jeff ran them towards the end of his career. And I mean, to be honest, I was more from the flames generation than I was from the rainbow generation. I don't think I was really born then. So I honestly, for me, the rainbow scheme, so-called rainbow scheme this year with Axalta is going to be awesome. Looks great, and I feel like it's something new for me. So it's kind of its own thing for me, and I feel like we're going to embrace it, as such. And now that the first win's kind of out of the way, that having the 24 number is a little bit more comfortable because we have our own. We can kind of start to form our own identity from here on out. So yeah, I mean, Jeff won a lot of races in the 24, and now it's our chance to kind of go out there and do what we can with it.
Heck yeah. And just a follow-up question, kind of going in more into iRacing. How many hours a week are you putting in to prepare, and how much are you using that on the actual track on the weekends?
It varies for me. I think iRacing does a great job with the tracks. They do a phenomenal job with the scans of the racetracks, and I feel like there's been times I use it more and times I use it less. This off season I've done a lot more sim work with my team, at Chevrolet and kind of using the Chevy sim, which has been a great tool. So, there's been less iRacing, I guess, but I've done a few races recently to try to just feel ready for the season, and I feel comfortable and feel like I'm where I need to be. So I use it as much as I need to feel prepared.
Great, man. Thanks, and best of luck this season.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to close out with our final question from Garrett with the Gas and Go podcast. Go ahead, Garrett.
Thanks. Hey, William. I was actually also going to ask about paint schemes, so I'll just give you a quick follow-up here. What kind of input do you have into your paint schemes, and especially that new Axalta one? Were you involved in the process with that, or were your eyes on it the first time when it was unveiled like the rest of us?
I get to see blueprints of kind of the progression of how it evolves before it's sent out, but I don't really get to design them initially, but I get to kind of choose between a few options. So yeah, I enjoy I enjoy looking at paint schemes, and I feel like anything that's gonna be fast is gonna look good. So that's kind of my goal, is to make it go fast, and leave that up to the smart people that
Well,
develop
it looks
paint
fast,
schemes.
so good luck down there this week.
Thank you.
All right, William, thank you so much for joining us today, and best of luck in the Daytona 500.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, guys.